Happy Wednesday, everybody. Happy that it's 5 to 7 at night and I'm just wrapping work. It feels weird. This is the first time that I'm shooting videos since Sunday. It's the first non-convention center video that we've had in the last week. Just this last Tuesday, 1 week ago, we were wrapping up and getting ready so that Wednesday we would be at the convention center and picking up Paul and all that good stuff. So as far as the Star Wars videos go, we have one more video to go that's going to take a little bit longer to edit, kind of like a little bit of a love letter to Star Wars and Celebration and the whole thing, if you will, from myself and a bunch of guest folks. That'll probably come out, I would imagine, maybe sometime over the weekend, maybe Sunday as a target or so, because it's a little bit more involved than I haven't had time. I'm very much appreciative of all of the feedback that we've gotten so far for the stuff that we shot from day 0 all the way through day 4. Comments and everything overwhelmingly positive. Really happy about that. Got a lot. It's ironic. We got a lot of positive feedback, and a lot of the videos, or a few of the videos, got a lot of thumbs down. So go figure. But we're filming what we love, and we love sharing this stuff with you. So I'm glad that at least the folks that are vocal enough to leave comments appreciate what we're doing. What we're gonna do for today's video, Mary's driving. Yay! We're gonna eat something. We're gonna hopefully try to track down one of these ridiculous rainbow Starbucks unicorn frappuccino coffees. Yeah.
Was it frappuccino? Yes.
And then give a little bit of a recap of what I think worked and didn't work at Celebration, what things can get improved upon, and we're gonna go over our haul. And that'll close out at least the bulk of the Star Wars stuff, except for the other video that'll be coming over the week. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up. That's what I'm planning on doing today. Chipotle. Unicorn Frappuccino. We got the Unicorn Frappuccino. It's bizarre. Well, on a positive side, that squatty potty that Jesse got me for Christmas will come in handy. Alright, I'm going to take a couple minutes, give you some thoughts about Celebration Orlando 2017. If it hasn't been mentioned before, this was our 4th celebration. We started going to celebrations, I think, in 2010 with Celebration 5. It was a little less desired, I think, to go. It wasn't the it thing for non-hardcore fans, I think, because there wasn't a lot of general product out there at the time. In 2010, it was in between movies. We had the Clone Wars going on, cartoon. The movies had ended, I believe, in 2005, the prequels. So it was a little bit different of a crowd. When we went to Anaheim 2 years ago for the last Star Wars Celebration stateside, we really started to see a shift in the volume of crowds and the amount of lines, and the way the con was managed overall, I think, changed dramatically. It went from, kind of like first come, first served, fans being generally good to each other, and respecting lines and not line jumping and not camping out and things like that, to a much bigger type of event, which is not a bad thing. I'm sure Disney, this is kind of what they were hoping for, is that you put out so much Star Wars content over a certain time period. I mean, when we go to Celebration, obviously we were celebrating this time 40 years of Star Wars, and Star Wars at this point is basically original movies, prequels, Clone Wars, Rebels, comics, books. There's video games, like with Battlefront. So it's bringing in a ton of people, and it's grown. As far as size, from when we originally started going to these in Orlando, probably tripled or quadrupled in size. So I want to talk about that. First things first, when we shot a video last week, I referenced that we were staying at the Hilton. And even though we live in Orlando, It's really beneficial, I think, to stay on site because things start fairly early in the morning, and this is before we even get to any of the camping out type of stuff. And things tend to end late at night if you're going to after parties, and like we went to Rebel Force Radio party, and we went to the 501st party, and you just kind of want to just collapse and be able to experience the after event along with other fans that are staying in town also. So having said that, I do want to mention one thing because I think this is important to me. It may not be important to the review of the event itself, not specific to Reed Pop or Disney or Celebration, but we had booked, just to give you insight, we had booked the Rosen Center, which is connected to the Orange County Convention Center by way of Skyway. Literally, like probably less than a quarter of a mile to be able to walk out of your lobby across the Skyway, and you're in the exact wing where Celebration was taking place. We had booked that many months ago. It come up to 2 weeks before the event. We received an email from somebody in charge of guest relations at Rosen, that not even a phone call, that basically had said our room was mistakenly overbooked. It's funny that this stuff came out with United Airlines after the fact about overbooking and kind of shining a light. However, they were not going to honor our reservation because they had overbooked things on their end. And what I believe myself from talking to folks that I know that are working inside as opposed to what was told to me is that the rates had changed somewhat over time from the time that we had booked the hotel. So I believe that they chose people that were paying a lesser rate or booked for a lesser rate than what the higher rate was. So they canceled our reservation, told us that they had rebooked us at the B Hotel, which is closer to Disney Springs. And for those that are familiar with Orlando, realize that it's really nowhere near the convention center, especially with morning traffic and everything. And that concept of being able to collapse after the fact or go, after parties and getting there early, it's not conducive to that. When we explained that back to the hotel, they came back with, well, we can knock like $70 off your rate at the B Hotel, and that should be good for you. And I said, that's really not the best answer either. Next answer for them was, we can split your night between 2 nights at one hotel that they have, that we booked, and 2 nights at another hotel that's further down the block for the same rate that would be going for either of those hotels that night. And I said, that's ridiculous too, to split a stay. Explained to them that by this point I had looked and booked Hilton, which was considerably more expensive, and just looked for them to like make up the difference between the two. They didn't. I like to think that the folks that were working within Rosen trying to book things or whatever, I told them flat out that we have an audience, etc. I would never personally recommend ever staying at the Rosen as a result of the poor treatment that we got through the booking process. If it happened to us, I also know other folks from the Florida group, the Star Wars Florida group, that were impacted as well, that had booked around the same time. So it would be a strong not recommend, definitely, for any of the Rosen properties that are on International Drive, especially around the convention center if you're looking to stay. I will say this, our stay at the Hilton Hotel, amazing. Fantastic people. The customer service was great. Food was great. The rooms were great. Just food for thought. But getting back to Celebration, this time around, I think, based off of the crowds, what we started to see early on was that the 4-day tickets sold out. And that had not happened before in any of the other celebrations, selling that far in advance. And I think that one of the reasons is that Repop looked at this as they were going to get a lot of people in. They can maximize their money by making you buy 4 separate individual tickets for each of the individual days for adults. That's where their bread and butter is and their money. Children's tickets remain the same. 4 days were available throughout the event. And then as we get closer to the event, Saturday sold out. I'll honestly say I'm not sure Saturday was as busy as it was like on Friday or Thursday, but the selling out of tickets was a surprise. One would think that should make the event more manageable, but in reality, the lines for Star Wars Celebration Orlando, if you didn't have a VIP pass and you weren't able to get in to things bright and early in the morning, you were really stuck. And some of the comments that we had in the video to date are really like, wow, you guys really paid for a lot of lines. Honestly, the biggest panels and the biggest information coming up from any of the celebrations are streamed now on YouTube or on the Star Wars website. When you're paying, $120 or $150 or whatever, I think it was $150 for 4 days, you kind of feel ripped off when you know that the general public is getting a better view of the same panels that you're queued up for hours when you're looking at it online. You have to really gauge what's the value to you to be within the room of people that are experiencing the panels firsthand to determine whether it's worth paying the money to go. But even more so than that, what we saw the first night, even for the 40th anniversary panel, ReedPop had made it clear in black and white on their website that they were not going to let folks start queuing up until 8 p.m. the night prior to the 40th panel, so that would be Wednesday night, 8 p.m. And Paul from Ideology Madness IOM Geek included in his video, that folks were queued up from like 9 p.m. or 8 p.m. the night before that. People, by the time that we looked at the line at 4:30 in the afternoon, there was about 500 people in line already. So they didn't do a very good job at adhering to their own policies. And I know a lot of folks that queued up to even wait overnight. And this is one thing that really kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. Not only was waiting overnight an option, it was really encouraged from ReedPop. And thinking that you have a company that is putting on a convention on behalf of Disney, which are kind of the masters at fast passes and return times and things like that, it's mind-boggling to think that folks need to wait so long to get into an event. So whether you were waiting online overnight to try to get into, be in a room where the actual humans were, or you were waiting to get into a screen, every day in our videos you saw people were queued up for, we got to the convention center every day by like 6 o'clock in the morning. The doors didn't open until 10. But in order to get a wristband to be able to go to any of the panels, that were on the two main stages, so like the merchandise panel that we had gone to didn't require one, but like the cosplay contest did. I'm trying to think what else there were. Basically any of the interview type things like the Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher tribute required a wristband. You needed to get in to get that wristband probably no later than 6 o'clock in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, and then you sat in that gigantic mass of people that we saw in the video over and over again for hours, 4 hours straight. People just sitting, kind of crisscross style with their heads in their laps, waiting to go to sleep. There's a limited number of bathrooms that people needed to use. The facilities at Orange County Convention Center were a mess from the get-go. From the moment that the doors opened, you'd be hard-pressed to want to even use the restrooms in most cases. The panels, if you didn't get a wristband, you were out of luck. The people were more concerned, I think, with getting wristbands for panels than actually having a ticket. So the next thing I want to talk about is that we did a social experiment throughout the weekend. The way that the queue used to work and what we described in our preview video was you would normally, when it was just first come first serve for panels, you'd queue up in one general area, you'd go through the entranceway, you'd hold your ticket up in the air to make sure you were being checked before you walked in the door. We went 3.5 days before Jesse was checked one single time for a ticket. None of us were ever asked for a ticket the entire time that we were there. So basically anybody that would have gone to Star Wars Celebration Orlando, you could have gone for free. There was no sense in even paying for a ticket. And I think a lot of people ended up doing that when they started hearing on social media that nobody ever checked for tickets. And not only did nobody check for tickets, the first day was such a debacle with the amount of security, and the line went for like 2.5 miles at one point to go through security. You had 4 metal detectors that were working in one entranceway on day one to be able to get in and get into the convention floor to start queuing up for a wristband. So, the lines that we saw were, it was the line to get through the security, to get into the line to get a wristband, into the line to get into the floor before you can, the line to get into the panel. So it was just one excessive thing of waiting hours to try to do stuff. So after the first day, their solution was, opened 2 more entrances. The 2 entrances that they opened, you got to tables that were grossly understaffed, no metal detectors. They had a wand, and when you presented, your bag, and I think coming from the theme park world, you used to be able to get a bag, and people at Disney will rifle through every last thing. Every day that we went after that first day with the huge debacle with the security line was basically a person that didn't seem like they wanted to be there, and they literally asked, what do you have in your bag? And you say, oh, camera. And they go, is that it? And you go, yeah. No one ever looked. There was not 1 ounce of security done for any of that stuff. However, if you had a lightsaber or a blaster pistols, you got like a fluorescent color strap tied to your thing. They also tagged lightsabers as real, to discern it that it wasn't a real weapon. I'm not sure that we've advanced to that point where we have legitimate full-size lightsabers as real weapons, but they were tagged just to make sure that you knew that they were fake. But in any event, the lines flowed right in those days, but you were waiting hours and hours to try to do things. We really didn't get to go to a lot of the panels that we wanted to go to. I know folks that waited for the 40th anniversary panel, slept overnight, had counted the amount of people out that they would be able to get in, and in turn had folks that line jumped and things like that and didn't get into the room. I think that there's a much better way to do things. We go to a much smaller con called Playlist Live. It's for YouTube, and even they do line management better, in that you're able to like pre-register for one panel or one group of meet and greet per day that you want to do, and you do it well in advance, like a month in advance before the event happens, and then exactly, I was able to get into that piece. There's no sleeping out, there's no giant lines to wait on, and there's just better ways to do things. At the Rebel Force radio party, we spoke to Jimmy Mack and Jason Swank. They admitted the same thing. Like, you could even come out with a tiered type of ticket, like a base ticket that just gets you on the con floor, and then kind of add on to like what levels of panels that you want to do and pay for things that way to try to eliminate things. There is just better ways to manage things than having to wait in line forever. The waiting in line continued when you went over to the Celebration store. And for those that don't know, the store offered the ability to have a light speed line. Now, the light speed line was basically like a return time ticket to get into the store. The line to get into the store every day was on average about 150 minutes. So it was about 2.5 hours to get in. And you didn't know whether most of the items that you were looking for were even in stock that day. The first day that the con opened, you notice that we did not go to the 40th anniversary panel. We streamed that panel on our phones while we went around and shopped, because we felt like that was the only opportunity before things sold out to be able to get in to do things. When we got online to get in the Celebration store, it was 10:15 in the morning, and the line was, we were told the line was 2 hours at that point. So 15 minutes in, the floor opening, the line's 2 hours. Someone came along from the store management and said, if you're looking to get a return time, go around the end, get a return time ticket, and you can come back later, and that way it frees up your time. We went and got a return time ticket for 11:05 in the morning. So basically, roughly less than an hour more to be able to go back, or roughly less than an hour to go back. And we didn't have to wait on that line. Yet everybody waited on that line, and we beat those people on the line getting in the store by getting a return time ticket. When we went in the store, they had stopped letting people in because there was such a line to check out. So you wait 2.5 hours to get in the store, and then folks were waiting upwards of 3 hours to be able to check out. The biggest stroke of luck was I was using the big camera that day, and if you saw the videos that we shot, it required, it's kind of like for lack of a better term, like the Casey Neistat setup with like a bendy tripod, which was big, external microphone, big DSLR. The woman that was managing the line saw the equipment, again, never looked at a badge, assumed that I was part of a media, and just said, for media, you can go to this line and check out with the VIP people. I didn't go to do that, just so you folks don't come in and start thinking I did the bad thing. But I did give my stuff to Paul, who was media for the event, so Paul was able to check out. But they rock it right through. And the other thing was, like, even the medical badges for the tickets on the website, leading up to the event, they had made it clear, like, if you had a medical sticker, which is kind of like, the equivalent of getting a return time at the theme parks, you were not going to get any special preference, because they said the lines are ADA compatible and you can wait in line with everybody else, etc. We went to like the Mark Hamill panel for the Carrie Fisher tribute. The line for medical stickers went from the front door of the theater all the way to the back of where parking is for the west area, which is, we're talking hundreds of people that had stickers. And you can't question anybody. I'm sure that they're the vast majority of folks needed to have medical stickers for a reason. Of course, there's always going to be bad apples that take advantage of the situation, and of which I knew of people that will remain nameless that were able to use stickers to be able to jump the lines, even at the store. There was somebody that I knew that was going to shop, asked me if I wanted anything, because they get in and out within 15 minutes while everybody's waiting 2.5 hours to get in and 3 hours to check out. That's not the greatest idea of having fun at a convention that you're spending $150 to go to. The store exclusives, if you weren't buying things in the store, but you were looking for things like Funko or Lego, Funko, these companies, their solution for people waiting online and being upset that they weren't able to get in was to issue lotteries to be able to buy something and have the opportunity to buy an exclusive. I didn't win any of the lottos to be able to get in. Paul did win the Lego lottery, and again, thanks to Paul, because he doesn't collect Legos, and he knew that we did. So he gave us the opportunity to buy, or to pay him, and he bought the Lego exclusive for us. But for the Funko booth, wiped out every day. Their idea, of trying to save people from not waiting online for these things. Every morning, the Funko line was, a mile long with the people that won the lotto to be able to buy the items from Funko. Same thing with Hasbro. In one of the videos, you saw us waiting in line to get a ticket to be able to buy the Hasbro exclusive. They had like 500, 800 tickets a day. People would wait online for that ticket for a good 2 hours. And then when the doors opened for the floor, you'd wait online again for like another 2 hours to be able to go in and buy a figure. There's gotta be a better way to do things. Aside from the content, that was at the convention itself was great. I think a lot of folks, if it was ReedPop generated content, for the most part, that type of content was streamed online, and I think they did a great job at streaming stuff. I'm surprised they don't charge for the streaming stuff, because so much of what we saw when we were there, you guys were able to see live on YouTube. Much better seats than what we had. But I will say, I think the best content that we enjoyed was user created. It's, folks realize, like, when you go around to these booths and people took pictures with like Ray's speeder, or the Road Squadron and the cars that they had, or different costumes that were on display, and like the 501st booth and stuff like that. It's all fan group and user created things that, that's not ReedPop putting this stuff out. Those groups are like paying for spots at the convention, or getting in and doing work. All the droids that are in the droid room, they may get a couple of free passes to be able to get to the con, but those are not things that are owned by the convention or by Disney, and those are some of the best experiences that they had. As likewise, a lot of the best swag, or I'm sorry, a lot of the best merchandise that was at the convention was fan-based swag and things that people made themselves, buttons, patches, giveaway cards and things like that, or knickknacks. I think that type of stuff really drove the enjoyability of the event. The cosplay was fantastic. Again, I think we got to Thursday and Friday. It was not as much as what I've seen in prior conventions. When we got to Saturday and Sunday, a lot of people cosplaying. It was great. I think from my perspective, especially having a daughter, it was great to see, like in the later Star Wars movies now, stronger female characters being cosplayed. So we saw a lot of Rays, a lot of Jins, and so forth, and a lot less Slave Leias. I think, in the past, one thing that's changed over the years from Star Wars conventions is you always saw, like every other girl that was cosplaying was like a Slave Leia type costume, and there's nothing wrong with that. Slave Leia, was a very powerful character in turn that freed herself from Jabba and basically killed Jabba the Hutt. But I think having these other strong characters and different characters opened up a different possibility for girls to cosplay as, and they looked fantastic. I think all the cosplayers look great. Star Wars Celebration brings out the best. I mean, especially some of the hybrid or comical type costumes look great. And, there's so much variation now that it's not 1,000 Kylo Rens, walking the floor and stuff like that. And, it was great. So some of the best things to me, again, fan-based stuff, and obviously seeing friends. We've made a lot of friends over the years. Local friends from all over the place, not only because of the channel, but, just people that we've met in the Star Wars universe of fandom over the last 15 plus years or whatever. And it's great to have that community, because I think everybody that walks around for the most part is there for one common interest. And it doesn't matter if the lines are 10 hours long. There's a way that the fans make each other laugh or smile or have a good time with each other. So that's just some thoughts, and I know that went on for quite a bit, but we're going to check out what we purchased when we were able to get into the stores and show you what we got. And by no means, this is by no means in a way to kind of rub it in and make anybody feel bad that they weren't able to get there or get things and everything. I just can't consider myself blessed that I have a very lenient wife that allows certain times of the year to be able to, or certain times, to be able to purchase Star Wars stuff, of which we have a bunch. So here's what we got. All right, so it's a weird camera angle because we're sitting up and using the bendy tripod is low. These are not in any order of specificity, but the first thing, and I think this is one of my favorite things, is from, as far as things that we took away from Celebration. This was Jesse's. It looks crazy. It's this was part of the Death Star diorama that was built. And again, if you guys go to a Celebration, it's well worth the time spending to build part of the diorama. It's part of a larger scope of things, or big things, and you're able to take the pieces home. So we have that.
That's why our initials are there too. We have J and K.
And the names on
And Jessie made this with her friend. So you have a J here for her name, and then you have a K up here for her friend's name as well. That's that. And again, these are not in any order, so we're going to go pretty quick, as fast as I can, so we're not here for like 2 hours. Jessie got this Jar Jar. If you didn't know already, she's a big Jar Jar Binks fan. So we are cornering the market and actually buying Jar Jar stuff. And this one is nice in the box. It's just a little bit of damage on the box, but it's nice. And she bought a loose Jar Jar also that I don't think is in any of these bags.
it is.
Okay, his head's sticking out.
Yeah,
So we've got loose Jar Jar in addition to non-loose Jar Jar. Same character. And again, not in any type of order of stuff here. We got a hat from Rancho Obi-Wan. I think we got a hat like maybe 4 years ago from them too. This Star Wars hat is from the Disney store. It's the 40th Star Wars. It says Star Wars there. It says Star Wars on this little plastic band on the back too. Feels like leather plastic. Mary bought this for me the last day of Celebration. This is the I know, oh my god. Some of you guys have come out and from Japan that watch our videos.
Yeah, Taikoyaku.
Taikoyaku. And this is from Bandai. I like this figure not only because of the war drum type of thing, but because he has this killer Imperial flag. So this is my first figure in this line, and here will get displayed. And this was the exclusive from Lego that Paul was able to buy for us. And this was at Celebration, still sealed. We are going to open this and make it, so don't think that we're not. But again, this was like 40 bucks at Celebration, by the way. This is what happens with Legos and exclusives. Like 40 bucks at the store, but in turn, before like anything even could get cold at the event. And they were already on eBay for like 250 bucks, which is ridiculous. We got this at the Disney store also. This is, I believe they have this in Disney parks now for you to buy. It's just a simple water bottle. It's small, so this will fit on my backpack when I go to the parks. You'll probably find it, if you run into me, dinged up all over the place because it's just steel. So we got that. This was a freebie from Celebration. God bless you.
Thank you.
We're not opening this one. I opened one. I think it's in my bag though.
No.
This is from Nissan. These are Death Trooper keychains. And basically all we had to do was, again, wait in another line for this thing. But on the back it says Star Wars Nissan. And on the front it looks like this. So probably hang that from like the rear view mirror. Got that guy going on. They also have another keychain that we were not able to get that was given away at the Rebel Force radio party. We've got things queued up here. Mary got this bracelet from Alex and Annie.
The last day it was 25% off plus your Disney discount.
Yeah, I don't know how well its focus is here, but it says "May the Force be with you," and on the back, Disney, Lucasfilm. These were freebies from the free swag stuff. This is my buddy Chris. He makes Star Wars movies, Star Wars fan movies, made Walking Dead movies. He is Cubby Fett. If you guys live in Chicago and you go to Cubs games and you see him, that's my buddy Chris. You can tell him hello, say you're a friend of mine. Jesse got this Ewok from the Disney store also. This was an exclusive. It started to get sold, I think, at the Disney store. I think it's in parks now too. This is Paplu. This guy joins the other Ewoks that Disney has released over the years for their packages. Jesse just happens to like this guy specifically, so we got that guy. This was the Hasbro exclusive at, I was going to say MegaCon, at Celebration. Basically, it's 6-inch figures, and they've now come on these card backs that look like the classic card back from Kenner from back in the day, and it's foil embossed with the 40 years. That's the difference between the one that you got at the convention versus the one that you can buy in the store. These guys were ridiculous that people waited online forever to get them. Oh, I'm sorry. I made a mistake. This is the guy that you can get in the store. This was the exclusive. This guy is the Hasbro exclusive from Celebration. Basically, it's the same type of figure that it was already released, 6-inch style, but he's on a classic type of card back, and the Celebration exclusive, at least right now, has this kind of foil embossed, rings around the end there. The cat's getting in the way. This is the Luke that you can find in stores, but we picked him up there. Farm Boy Luke, and we also picked up an Obi-Wan as well. I wish his cape was vinyl, but it's made out of cloth. He looks cool. The problem with these guys, and I did not want to get them when we went to the event initially, is that the purpose of these things, I always get criticized from my nephews about not taking toys out of packages, which we've done very well at doing lately. But these guys, the packaging is meant to be displayed the way that they are. So now it's a huge space in there. Mary got this bag, and I think you might have seen this in the video that we shot. This is just the Imperial Cog. You open it up. It says Star Wars Celebration in here. It's a very nice bag. It's got like hard cardboard backing here, so it'll stay rigid. It's got an inside pocket. This is another no, this was at the Celebration store, so this was only at Celebration. This is not a Disney type of thing.
Here's your shirt.
This was at the Celebration store where we waited forever. This is a Her Universe shirt. I bought it for me anyway, so we're gonna wear it because it's kind of unisex, but I like this. Ahsoka versus Vader. It's very cool. I asked Jessie if she wanted one too, so we could both wear the same thing, and she wasn't into it, so that
this is my shirt.
This is Mary's shirt. I'm not a big fan of these football type sleeves, but the 40 logo is cool. They had a ton of like 40 logo stuff, and I don't understand, like every shirt that they had in the Celebration store is cut like this with like, I don't don't know if you can see this, but like a sewed line there, and I wasn't digging it, so I didn't get one.
This is a screen printed.
Oh, and this one was a custom shirt, so they offer custom shirts in the Celebration store that you can get other pieces put on it. Cat's eating plastic. This is Celebration, but it's Vader, and I don't know if you can see, make this out, it's Rebel logos mixed with Imperial logos. It's pretty cool looking. This is another hat for me, Star Wars 40 logo, and this was from the Celebration store, so it'll be worn sparingly here, especially with the amount that I sweat while I'm wearing hats in the parks. Oh, this thing was ridiculous. This is bought with the idea that we will wear this at the next Star Wars run, not the one that's coming up this week, but it's Krennic's shirt. It comes with the cape on the back of it, so don't expect to be wearing it in the park on a routine basis. Stance had specific socks for the event. This was not one of them. This was just a regular pair of socks that you can see. It's kind of the tower from Return of the Jedi. So we had that. But Stance did have these exclusive socks, and basically these socks were only for the event. And although you can only see Vader here or the Tusken Raider here, on the back side you can see they had the one sock is the Tusken Raider, the other one is Obi-Wan, and on this one sock is Vader and the other one is a Stormtrooper, and these were specifically for Celebration also. I don't think that they're going to sell them in stores. That's what they had told us, but you never know.
You never know.
This thing, okay, I'm going to show you this thing, because I think that's it for stuff, right?
Yeah.
In the video, we went to this company's booth called Muster Brand. I've never heard of them. If you go to their website, they've got a lot of cool stuff. They have this Sith Lord jacket. It didn't fit me. I'm too fat. I'll be the first person to say that. But it's also Euro cut, and the largest size that they had in the Euro cut was just big enough, barely, to get around me, but I didn't want to play with it because of the price.
Yeah, the price was...
But when I went to, when I was joking around with the lady about it, she had mentioned, like, you know, they had a Knights of Ren sweater instead that I tried on that I absolutely loved. And again, I have a very loving wife that will allow me to buy things. And I actually like this better than the jacket because this looks a lot like the robe that Kylo Ren wears.
Yes.
I'm gonna
with the big neck, with the big fold neck,
yeah,
kind of thing.
Fast forward here for a second so I can show you what it looks like. So essentially this is what this looks like. It's got the buttons on the side, so you can button this up. It's got the hood. The hood comes down. It's I think it's called like the Knights of Ren cardigan.
I don't know.
It doesn't say it on it, but without a doubt, the single coolest piece. I have the Big Lebowski sweater. I think I'll be wearing this more than the Big Lebowski sweater. It doesn't get that cold here, so
yeah. But this matches everything.
Yeah, everything black, and it looks nice. So I can't wait to wear this.
Really nice, soft.
Yeah, it looks really cool. The last couple things, MimoBot was there, so Jessie picked up a flash drive, and she also picked up this Her Universe satin jacket, which takes you back to like the 1970s. So it's got C-3PO and R2 on the back, and the 40 logo on the front. And Jessie had been wearing this. Oh yeah, and Jessie had been wearing this for days with the tag.
Tag's still on it.
But on the inside, it's got like C-3PO's guts, which, you know, when she asked could she get the jacket, she got a million jackets, but I said like the guts sells it. So
yeah, that's how I liked about it. I didn't like the gold, but.
Oh, and then last couple things. These are more free swag. If you go to the collector panels, I think I mentioned in the preview video that you were able to get these star tots for every panel that you go to. At the end of every celebration event, any tots that were not given out to people, and basically you have to sit through the entire panel in order to get one, any tots that were not given out, you are able to keep. You just have to get on a massive line. You get one, you get off, circle around the line again.
You get stabbed 3 times.
Yeah, so we did it twice. We got the Biker Scout. We got Akbar. We picked up Princess Leia. Oh, Princess Leia. And Princess Leia. 2 different outfits.
And
There's
then you got
Bausch.
2, but I don't know where yours are.
These were the 2.
Oh, maybe I don't know where Jessie's is.
Yeah. Jessie is hoarding hers. And we've got Star Tots for the last 3 years. Before they did Star Tots, they did mini cereal boxes that were very cool also. If you watch that high-end collectible video that we did, I mentioned that I won something. It was the first time I've gone to that panel now for years. I haven't won anything. We went to this thing, the last possible thing that they gave away. They called my number, so we got something from this company. It's a new company, a new sponsor of Star Wars, or producer or licensee, Royal Salinger. A really great story about the person running this that did the panel, 4th generation Chinese tin mill worker. This particular item that I won was the first of this item off of the production line.
The first pressing.
Yeah, so we've got a base, and it says Luke Skywalker, so you already know what's coming here. But this is basically Luke's lightsaber, which is amazing, this hilt, brushed metal. But you open this up, so I learned this while I was trying to jerk this thing around a little bit. This opens in half, so it's actually a document holder. They tell you, you know, like in the panel, like you put your birth certificate or something important in there, no one's going to really find it. It's a good security measure type thing. You put it back together, close the handle, and bam. We have this amazing kick-ass lightsaber with this stand. And it's my favorite saber again, if you guys are new to the channel. We have this saber a couple different ways already. Basically, you know, we'd call this, I think in canon now, Hero Saber, because this is what ends up with Rey. And there you go. It's got a little thing on it too, so you could actually just use it for cosplay if you wanted to. I have no idea how much this is going to cost because it's not even on the website yet. It's not a product that they're producing.
But you gotta tell them that the guy signed it, too.
Yeah, so I asked the guy, the owner of the company, if he would sign it, and he seemed floored that I was asking him to desecrate, like, this is the first production piece that was made for the line, and they signed it. So I was, you know, if there was ever a time that I felt incredibly awkward because other people from different Star Wars sites came over, so
Oh
we
yeah,
took
they
pictures
started
of it.
like, you know, standing around him and everything.
Yeah, I actually felt like crying because I was so happy that you know, we won something. I was just blown away. The other stuff that we got is basically swag from fans.
501st
and
fans. Our
different things.
buttons all on our
Yeah.
lanyards and stuff.
We did get this as well. There's another piece of swag just from the collecting track, Star Wars. We've got things like this that I'm a pack rat, so this was from the 501st bash, and I've got them from the last couple 501st bashes. And we got a sticker, the anniversary sticker. I even take the napkins, so I'm a collector. That's what we do. So I got the 20th thing. This we got from Billy, Norgon Warrior, and then we posted this in a picture at some point online and social media. He made this 3 printed for us. It is amazing. We have some really amazing friends and fans and people that watch us that give us things. We met some folks from Wales that were in town. We got this amazing stamp set from them, as well as a bunch of 501st goodies from overseas, so from their garrison. It's just amazing. Like, we have a pin. We've got another pin. We've got patches. That covered up, but that's the UK. More 501st patches. The Blizzard Force. And then like stickers and cards. So this is who gave everything to us. Be on the lookout for TS26714, Snow Trooper. And that's Rob. This is a picture of Rob on the back. I don't know how blurry that's coming out. Let's put it next to my face so it blocks it. That's Rob. Rob's face is on my face. But just absolutely amazing. Like I said, we get I think the best stuff that we got. I mean, obviously we spent a lot on merchandise, and Celebration came around this year at that sweet spot of like tax season and bonus season for work and that good stuff. But this bag is loaded with like patches and buttons that we got from other people. So the Wookiee monster, we got stuff from him. I mean, it's never ending. The droids, the R2 droid builders. Yeah. This was their patch this year in memory of Kenny Baker, and let's not forget Kenny Baker passed away in addition to Carrie Fisher. I think that, you know, we did a lot for Carrie Fisher this year. You know, we got buttons from Disney panel, so Droid Factory, celebrating that protocol droids are now available to build in the Droid Factory. But just lots of awesome stuff. I still love this thing. This is the mask from the 501st party. It's like all of this dumb stuff, and people always ask, you know, obviously, you know, we're going to display things, and I think, you know, we're going to spend a little bit more time at home cleaning so that we can get to a point of being able to show you guys a little bit more. Mary's off camera. We're going to split her in half of the stuff that we have, because you know, we've got a ton of great things that we want to be able to display and show everybody. So that's it.
Yep. This
is a really long video, and I wanted it to be like 15 minutes, but I ended up spending longer than 15 minutes telling you all the things about Celebration to begin with, and then the merch. So apologies for going so long. I'm going to get back to shorter videos and non-Star Wars-y type stuff coming up after this. So look at this water bottle. This thing is like 6 ounces. I could like, it's like putting like a small alcoholic cocktail in this thing.
Yeah,
but,
that might be nice.
That about does it. So, any event, thank you for watching and sticking around with us for all the Star Wars goodness over the last week. We do have one more Star Wars video that'll come out, and it's a little bit more, like I said, a love letter towards the Star Wars and the event itself. But on that note, we're going to say goodnight for now. So thank you for all of your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. I'm literally Kyle Ren. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Have a great night. We'll see you guys. Thank you.